This is Stagger Lee, introducing a new segment we'll call Stagger Stories. This is where I tell true stories from my life. My 29th birthday, I found myself in jail. I did and said some things while I was in there, and they took me to this solitary confinement / observation cell. And it was 4.5 concrete blocks by 4.5 concrete blocks. It had a tall ceiling with glass ceiling, not fiberglass, but whatever. And you could see down in glass, plexiglass, and they had a camera sitting down through it, and you could watch me in. They had a little perch and they had a toilet. And they made me take off all my clothes, and I put on this little gown. It was long sleeve, it come about my knees, and had one place to Velcro in the back, and it was made out of like a fabric softener type material. It wasn't in cloth. They set me in there, and it didn't take me long to realize I had messed up and I did not need to be in there. So I knocked on the door. He come over there and opened the door, the little window, and he's like, "Is everything okay?" I said, "I need to get out. I need to get out of here. I don't belong in here." He said, "You're going to stay in here," basically. And he closed it back. So I beat on the door again, and he didn't say nothing. I waited a little bit. And I got to where I was just beating and kicking the door. And he come over and opened it, and he said, "If you don't quit beating and kicking on this door, I'm going to come in there and put the shackles on." So he closed it, and I waited a few minutes. I decided I was going to be Billy Badass, and I kicked the shit out of that door. And they opened the door, and it was this big black guy and big white guy. And they had done this a time or two before. Before I knew what was going on, they had me on the ground and had my arms handcuffed, my feet handcuffed, shackled around my waist, my arms and hands shackled to my waist, and my feet hooked to my waist with this little chain, so I was kind of humped over a little bit. And they threw me down on that perch, and they told me, "Do not get up and beat on that door again." So I cried like a little bitch for a few minutes, and then I was able to pull myself together, and I sat there on that little perch and just sat there. I don't know how long I had sat there. They brought food around. It was supper time. I never forget, she brought in spaghetti and kernel corn. And not on the cob, not cream corn, just corn, And I sat there, and I was starving to death. But they had me shackled. So I said, how am I going to eat? So I decided I would get down on my knees in front of the little perch where my plate was and just lean my face over into it. So I would lean my face over, and I'd get a big bite of spaghetti, and I'd get spaghetti all over me, and then I'd lean a bite, and I'd get a bite of corn. I did that till I ate, and I had spaghetti all over me. I could feel it, I could just feel the spaghetti on me. So they come in there about 7, they changed shifts, and the guy come in there, and he took the shackles off of me and brought me a washcloth, let me wash my face, told me not to kick the door anymore. So I got far away from the door. You couldn't pay me to get near the door. You damn sure couldn't pay me to kick the door. So there was a toilet in there, but there wasn't any toilet paper. So I started ripping the little cloth they had given me, my little gown. I'd rip it, and that's what I would use, and the little thing started just falling apart. But I ended up spending 27 hours in there, and when they come to get me out, I had it like tied around my neck and shoulder on one side. It wasn't on this side, it was on this side. I had it tied around like a toga. It looked like a toga kind. And then it come down, and it looked like a mini skirt, because it did hang down to my knees, and now it was just, right there. I ain't gonna lie, it was peeking out a little bit, And they ended up giving my clothes back, sending me back to the work center, and I was in general population again. And that's why I will never forget my 29th birthday.